Hello and welcome back again. This time we'll be assembling and mounting the booster covers to the legs. I chose to print these in ABS plastic, and they're mounted semi-permanently to the legs with screws. Okay, let's go. As I just said, I printed these booster covers in ABS after modeling them in Fusion. I cut them up into 4 pieces each to fit my printer. I could have printed them in one piece on my big printer, but the quality is not nearly as good. The prints turned out pretty good and just needed a bit of cleanup before assembling. I didn't spend a lot of time sanding at this stage because I knew I was going to body shop them later. I solvent weld ABS parts with a mixture of off-the-shelf ABS cement, thinned with a bit of regular acetone applied to both faces. The cement kicks off pretty quickly and I clamp the parts while it's curing. You can see here that I use wooden blocks to help with the clamping and also to keep the legs of the covers parallel. Anybody that's done much 3D printing at all knows that one of the things that we struggle the most with is parts that twist and warp while they're cooling. Now these didn't turn out too bad, but the one thing that they've done is the legs of the booster covers have pulled in a little bit. Now when it's mounted on the leg, it's not going to really be a problem because I'm using screws to hold it in place. But what's going to happen is I'm going to use a little bit of body filler on this and smooth it out really nice. And I'm afraid that once it's finished, I'm going to put it on the leg, I'm going to spread it a little bit, put it in place, and I might crack the body filler. So what I've done is I've cut an aluminum backing plate for it that's going to hold it in position while I do the finishing, with the hopes that I can transfer it to the leg without wrecking anything. Now one of the advantages to printing with ABS is the fact that we can use an acetone vapor bath to really smooth parts down and make them look nice. Now I'm actually going to finish these with body fillers and glazing putties and then prime them. So I won't be using a vapor bath on them, but I am going to rub them down with acetone real quickly. And that'll just make sure that the layers are bonded nice and it'll give me a good foundation to move on to the next step. I'm starting with some light body filler to take care of some imperfections with the parts. Mainly a bit of warping at a couple corners and the layer steps on the tops. Okay, so here's where we are so far. I've added just a little bit of body filler just to square it off, clean up the edges and the corners. I sanded that down, gave it a coat of filler primer, gave that a quick sand, and then primed the whole thing. And And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and get ready to test fit this on the droid and get them mounted on the legs. I know that I'm going to take them off again, do a little bit better finish on it, and then paint it. I printed a template to transfer the positions of the screw holes, then drilled them through and added countersinks. One complication that I ran into is the fact that the booster covers mount over the leg mounting bolts, making it impossible to access the bolt at 6 o'clock. I printed this keeper that will jam the bolt head, allowing me to tighten the nut from inside the droid. The keeper is a tight fit and it's held in place with 2 finishing nails. Okay, so that's the booster covers assembled and attached to the legs. They seem to be fitting just fine. As I said before, I know that I'm going to remove them again when it comes time to finish these legs for painting. And at that point, I'll refinish these and they'll get their final paint job as well. So I think the next thing I'm going to work on are the leg struts, which go in here. And then hopefully get the horseshoes on, the shoulder horseshoes on. As you can see here, I've got laid out in front of me, I got most of the parts printed already for the leg struts. And for the horseshoes, although I initially intended to 3D print ABS horseshoes, I'm going to try a set out of birch plywood. I've got them cut out here. I haven't finished them clearly, they're right off the machine here. And that's going to be another video. But I'll finish them, paint them, and see how they look, and then I'll decide from there whether I'm going to try ABS plastic or maybe go with something else. And once again, I've got to ask you if you're interested in seeing more of these videos, if you take the time to just subscribe to this channel. That's going to be the best way to let me know that there's some interest, and I'll keep making the videos. Okay, thanks.